Welcome to Impact and Influence, the podcast for current and emerging leaders to build on leadership capability, sustainability, and purpose. This series opens the door to what's possible to build a life in leadership by design, not by default. Impact and Influence is proudly brought to you by Flick It Over, an industry-leading forms provider and e-signature platform built for real estate. Flick It Over is an office-wide solution for sales, property management and operations that delivers noticeable efficiency and a seamless client signing experience via email and SMS. Unleash the power of SMS and get documents back 60% faster with Flick It Over. Welcome back to another Impact and Influence interview. I'm so excited today to be in New York City with an old friend and colleague, Kurt McNevin-Zablocki. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. And your first interview today.
Yes.
Ever on a podcast.
First one.
How amazing. So, Kurt, you've been in New York City now for nearly 10 years.
Just over 10 years now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, Sydney boy, born and bred Brisbane though, is that right?
Yes. And then moved to Sydney when I was 10.
Okay, so let's go back so our listeners know exactly the context of our relationship and your career. Okay. So we first met at Dow Jones. I started there in 2014, but you were there before I was. So out of school, tell us about the real estate journey and how your career has evolved since that time.
So since Dow Jones, I've moved to New York 10 years later, working for one of the top teams in the US.
So now you're Director of Operations for the Holly Parker team. And
yes.
We've got Holly coming on soon as one of our other guests to talk about brokerage in New York City. Now, you guys are number 3 team in the US, number 1 team in New York. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you would be moving from basically working in administration and operations as a cadet in Sydney to being where you are now in New York?
Definitely not. Like, if you told me this is where I would be in 10 years' time from when I moved over here with no job, no apartment, now working here in this kind of role, I really need to pinch myself sometimes. I'm
really excited to share your story because this podcast is all about leadership, and I think a big part of leadership is resilience and being curious and being courageous. And when I think of you and what you did over here and when you moved over here in your early 20s, all of those things certainly tick boxes. So for our listeners, before we start talking about what you need to do in operations with your team for a team that handles, over 500 million annually in volume every year, let's go back. Let's go back to your first job in real estate and what did it look like? Because for a lot of our leaders and developing talent that are listening, I want them to be inspired by your story. So where did you start and when did you leave school?
So I started back in 2010, so I was about 15 years old back then. Worked at Dow Jones Real Estate in the eastern suburbs in Sydney.
And how did you get the job there? I've never asked you that actually.
So when I turned 15, I wanted to get a job, and I always knew it was in real estate. So I emailed all these sales managers in Wallara, Double Bay, Bondi, eastern suburbs, to see if they had any part-time after-school work going on.
Basically knocking on doors, which we love when cadets do that.
Right. And I think Dow Jones was the only one that got back to me and had one interview. Started, I think, 2 years later.
Yeah. And what did you start doing? What was your job?
A lot of mailbox jobs, helping with admin, a lot of scanning, just all the
exciting stuff.
Very bare bones minimum admin work, shadowing agents with whatever they needed help with at the time.
Bet you learn a lot though.
It was a lot.
Yeah. And
it was almost every day after school.
Yeah. And then that evolved. How long were you there for?
I was at Dow Jones in total for a bit over 5 years.
Okay. So the year that you moved to New York was what year?
2016.
2016. You came over here. You had no job before you got here. Was it a similar approach to find jobs here?
I actually took the same approach. So I also reached out to all the sales managers at every single office for every brokerage in Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah, I searched who are the top brokerages in Manhattan, found all the contacts and just reached out. Even before I moved over, I was already emailing and lining up interviews. But it really took to be over here on the ground to get any traction.
Okay. It is vastly different. So let's talk about, because I was just wondering the learning process, how long it took. So we'll talk about that in a sec. But for our listeners in Australia particularly, what are the key differences in real estate in the States, particularly New York, one of the most competitive marketplaces in the world, compared to what you're used to back home?
So New York is vastly unique in every aspect when it comes to, especially in Manhattan. it just operates entirely differently. So in New York, the majority of apartments are rentals. So there's only a very small portion of real estate that you can actually purchase. And the majority of that are co-ops. Then you have a smaller portion, maybe about 15%, that are residential, that's condos, which comparing that to Australia, that's strata title. Co-op is more or less company title. So you buy the shares into a corporation, and those shares give you the right to purchase that specific apartment. Yep.
Now, your team plays in, I think you said your average sales price is about 4.8 or just below $5 million. Is that right? If I've got that wrong, you tell me.
Team-wide, about that. For Holly herself, we're well north of 11.
Okay.
12, yeah.
So looking on your website the other day, you guys have had sort of sales up to around $80 million. Mm-hmm. So you're playing in the big league. Mm-hmm. What were the biggest things that you had to learn? And if you could go back and tap yourself on the shoulder when you first came over here, what advice would you have given yourself? A younger version of Kurt, what would you have said?
I think just having to keep an open mind and just absorb as much as possible, that definitely helped me a lot in the start, because it really is, it feels like you're learning from scratch all over again, because just the terminology is so different, the process is extremely different. It's nowhere near as simple as an auction. So
I guess first thing first, did you have to get your license over here?
I did.
And what did you have to do for that?
So you have to do a school exam. Like I did mine online. And then,
how long does that take, Kurt, over here?
I think it's a set mandate like 120 hours.
Okay.
So that's for the school exam.
Yes.
And then after that, once you pass that, you then need to do the state licensing exam. You also have to test for that. And then once you get a test, then you can get your license. But your license in the US is linked to your brokerage, not you as an individual.
Yeah, right.
So to be officially licensed or completely done, you need to find a company who would sponsor your license.
Okay, understand. I want to dive deep into your leadership role in operations, which is what you do and what you did in the last company you were with for 7.5, 8 years before you came across to Holly Parker's team. I think for our listeners to put it into context, if we look at sort of, I guess, the top 3 agents in Australasia through REB's top 50 rankings this year, there was Alexander Phillips, Michael Clark and Dib Chidiak. And those guys are sort of doing between that 500 and 900. Like it's a huge gap for 3 people.
Right.
But Holly's in that elite, right, with what she's doing.
Right.
How do you run operations for that? And what does your day or week look like in facilitating and organising a team to that scale?
So we were very structured. So we're very big on having our processes, checklists, making sure nothing really slips through the cracks. We are very service orientated. So we need to make sure from start to close, even prior to that, nurturing relationship. And
how involved are you, like in your team? How many people?
There's about 8 of us in total.
Eight in total. And because you know what it's like in Australia, we have associates, we have admin.
Right.
What are the sort of the roles and the functionality that people play, including yourself and your team?
So there are 6 agents that are full-time, and then there's 2 admin or support, myself and our marketing and communications person who takes care of more the nurturing, the relationship side. She's basically our touch point with the clients on day-to-day kind of needs. I'm more back end, looking at the whole, making sure everything goes smoothly with the deals, doing what's called a board package. So
let's talk about that. Let's talk about the board package and the contracts, because I've seen photos. So tell us what's involved with that and when that sort of applies.
So once you sign a contract on a condo or co-op, there's what's called a purchase application or board package. So it basically outlines like your financials, especially in a co-op. You need to provide financial statements, could be up to 3 years worth, tax returns for the last few years, reference letters, personal, bank, professional. It can be quite involved,
and it sounds quite laboursome for a buyer. So do they appoint people to help them with that process?
No, so your broker who is representing you, if you're a purchaser, it completes a board package with you.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. So you can have a broker as a vendor and you can have a broker as a buyer. What does that look like?
So we're basically representing who your client's interest is. So, of course, if you represent the seller, it's to get the best possible, not necessarily price all the ways, but best possible deal. And same for the buyer side. So you're kind of flipping the reverse and working in their best interests.
And without disclosing Holly's fees or the team's fees, what do you sort of look at as a percentage over here for selling somebody's property and buying?
5 to 6% is generally the range, and that's split 50-50 between the buyer side and the seller side.
Yeah, right. And we were talking the other day, obviously, again, you're playing in the luxury market, particularly in Manhattan and Soho and Chelsea and areas like that. What's your average days on market for stock at that? You said Holly's, average sales price is over $10 or $11 million. What are you looking at? How long does it take to sell something like that in New York?
At the moment, the super high-end, the luxury market, you're looking at 400 days plus.
400 days plus. And is there...
But it really does vary depending on the neighborhood and the type. Townhouses have been very popular, especially since COVID, because people wanting their own space, privacy. So that's very big. New development is, especially this year, has been very active because there's just not really much coming up. There's not much new inventory coming to the market.
And you do a lot of new inventory, don't you? Your team does a lot off the plan, and yeah?
Yeah, Holly has done some of the most new developments in the city.
And she holds the records for a lot of those. So with your branding, and you said you've got someone in your team that specialises in marketing, I've noticed, and thank you very much for sharing some of your market reports and some of your commentary. They're very extensive. How much work goes into that, and what's the sort of the frequency of your branding and marketing communication?
So we do a monthly newsletter that's very much detailed about how the market is performing over the last quarter, last month.
And do people opt into that, or do you just send it to everybody?
So we send to everyone that's on our contact list.
Okay.
Yeah, and we get around 50-60% open rate.
Open rate. Okay, that's fantastic.
We get extremely high.
Yeah. So benchmarking-wise, again, for the Aussies at home, we usually say as long as you can get 30 or 32% open rate, I believe it should be over 40. So those numbers are extraordinary with the engagement you're getting. You're big on personalisation. I don't want to take away from Holly's interview because she's on next.
Of course.
But what are some of the things that you do to reward repeat referral from clients that send business your way?
So if that's repeating referral, I would definitely go above and beyond to making sure we're in constant contact with them, every update they get instantly. Just being very over the top, and
even for referrals, so people that refer you in business, you look after them as much as your vendors.
Right. Yeah. If they refer us to somebody, they get a gift. The gift the same day.
They get a gift
the same day.
Yeah. Hope everyone's listening. They get a gift, not just a phone call. Reward the behaviours.
Absolutely.
And day to day for you, Kurt, what would your day look like? So you're here first thing this morning. What will your day look like when you go back to the office as Director of Operations? So
I make sure every client has been updated, or if whether's their stage, whatever stage they are in the cycle, they've been updated to see what they're informed with the latest on that. And
would you do that, or is that checking in on the agents? What does that look like?
That's usually checking in on attorneys, managing agents to see if there's any bottlenecks, just make sure things are still progressing along smoothly.
Yes.
Basically, once the things, listening to or buyers or listeners in contract, I just need to make sure I'm staying on top of it daily to make sure it goes to closing.
Okay. And Kurt, I think a lot of our listeners would be interested. How do we find more Kurts, right? Like this great young talent came in, did all the shit jobs that nobody else wanted to do, and he's progressed through his career, came door knocking in New York City, which is one of the hardest things to do. What can leaders out there that own businesses do to nurture or be more responsive to people like yourself that are looking to elevate their career and have a go?
I think treating people with respect and communicating appropriately is a big step to that, because if you're not in an environment that's conclusive of that, they're not going to stay.
So you've only really had 3 kind of main employers over your career.
Yeah.
What are the sort of things, and we don't want to throw anyone under the bus here, but what are the sort of things that makes people your age stay and go? What are the things you're looking for?
I'm looking for an environment where they are willing to teach and you're able to learn from them.
So learning and development?
Learning a lot.
Yeah.
I've been with Holly now for about almost 18 months, and I've learned more in that time than I have employed the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
It's been
because you're in the field too, right? Like you're sometimes out doing inspections, sometimes you're running team meetings. It's that versatility. Is that important for you?
For sure. definitely having flexibility, and I just don't like being micromanaged. I never have. So I think having...
So that's important to know how you want to be led and how you want to be managed.
Right.
So making sure we're asking those questions of our upcoming talent. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Like having the flexibility to lead your day how you think is best. But on the flip side, you have to make sure like they're actually doing what they should be doing.
Yep.
And make sure nothing goes under the cracks. Things have been done. People responded to.
Yep.
Yeah. You have to be able to
How do we instill work ethic? So, we were lucky enough to, my daughter's sitting over here in the corner. We were lucky enough to grab a meal with you on the weekend, and then we were out for dinner last night with Nick from another company. And you're constantly checking your phone and being like, oh, does Holly need anything? How do we instill that, or what can we do to encourage that with more people?
That's a good question. I think it comes really down to people's natural work ethic.
You can't take out what nature put in, right? And you can't, and vice versa.
Right.
I think if you've got that, it's incredibly important for the team. Why do you do what you do? Why do you stay in New York, and why do you continue to do the role that you do?
Oh, because I love it. It's firstly such an amazing city to live in. It's been incredible for the last 10 years. I can't imagine living anywhere else at this point in my life. And it's just been really incredible. And the people has really kept me in the industry. And
it's very diverse, isn't it?
Just the amount of people you see from all walks of life, you see the best of the best, worst of the worst, and everything in between. It's just always super exciting. And just the people you meet are just like incredible.
Now, here's a topic for debate. What do we do better in Australia than here, and what does the US do better in real estate than Oz?
I think Australia definitely has a better technology, I think, in Australia is definitely world class. And I like how Australia is more structured and how they operate as a business as a whole, whether that be an individual agent or a team, where I think that lacks in the US, where it's kind of more on the fly.
Okay. And what are you guys nailed over here over us at home?
I think it's more creative over here, and just the way that real estate in the US is, you have a buyer's agent, sales broker. It means people have to work together more so.
Okay,
it's more
collaborative as a team.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you're going to see them 2 days' time showing them your listing.
And they really are sharing listings too within a firm and a brokerage.
Right.
And I know some firms back home do that. But with the conjunctional contractor model in Australia, we've certainly seen more siloed businesses. And I don't think that's as good for the consumer.
Right.
So I had the benefit of sitting in a sales team meeting the other day with some guys in New Jersey. And the amount of time that the 75 agents spent in that sales meeting talking about buyers and matching them to the property took about the first 40 minutes of the meeting. And I think it's something we used to do really well in Australia, and with a recalibrating market, I think we're going to have to go back there.
Right. Tell
us about your CRMs and your databases here. Are they siloed, or you guys are with Compass, which is the biggest real estate brand in the US. What does your technology or your CRMs look like?
So we have our contacts all within the Compass CRM platform.
Yes.
And so that's basically how we communicate, because we can use that CRM, especially at Compass, to do literally everything that we need in our business, whether that's compliance, processing documents. It's all in one solid place, where previously it had been in multiple places. So it's definitely more structured because it's in one place.
What does that do best for you and the team?
It just creates more efficiency.
Okay.
Because we don't have to go back and forth from multiple platforms, websites. It's all in one.
And it's all in one. And let's talk about your platforms over here. So obviously at home we've got realestate.com and Domain are the two major portals. What do you have over here?
So again, going back to Compass, we have our own platform, but every brokerage in New York City is part of REMNY, so Real Estate Board of New York, and we all cooperate with each other. You have to be part of a member of that organization, and so all the major brokerage, we share all our listings on our own backhand systems. So I can see if somebody from, say, Sotheby's, Element, I can see what they have actively on the market.
So you guys are conjuncting with each other. Okay.
Yep.
And is there any grounds for that? So like in Australia, you'd have to be pretty desperate, is what people would say, to conjunct with somebody. That's common practice over here?
Very much so.
Okay. And then they just, split the commission 50-50? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
So the listing agent doesn't get more than someone that comes along with the buyer?
No.
Okay. And let's walk through, because I'm really interested around, the offer process, particularly if you've got things sitting on the market for as long as your team does. In Australia, I might put an offer forward and go immediately to contract. You've got a few more hurdles.
Luckily, ours at the moment have been going to contract very quickly.
Okay.
Thankfully.
Yeah. And those packs to get ready to submit for like a co-op or company title, how long does that take? And how, when they arrive, are they electronic? Are they hard copy?
Thankfully now, especially since COVID, they're now finally gone electronically. Previously, you'd have to make 8 to 10 copies sometimes, and they could be 800 pages each. So it was an extraordinary waste of paper.
And from a security point of view, so you've got people's financials from the last 3 years, you've got cash at bank, like all their personal details. I can't even imagine the security that must be involved. How is all that information traded?
It's all, we redact everything before it goes anywhere.
Yes.
But it's all on like a secure online portal these days.
Okay.
So only the people who need to see it can have access to it.
Okay.
It's not nearly really on like a printer somewhere.
Yeah. And Kurt, I know everyone's going, Carl's, ask them what they do in their meetings. So your structure of like your sales meetings or your weekly EBU meetings or things like that, what are the sort of things that you cover?
So we talk about like what buyers we're working with, what they're looking for, because sometimes we may have a listing that's coming out that their client may be interested in. We talk about our listings, like how they're performing, what we have coming up, whether that's buyer, seller, to see. We really try and match if we have anything in-house, or like if someone's struggling with listings, like, oh, try this out.
And do you work with finance brokers or home loans like we do in Australia? Is that a big part of your business?
Generally, yes.
Probably not at your level. There's probably not too many people that need finance to buying properties for $70 and $80 million, I would imagine.
No. Yeah, about 60% of Manhattan real estate sells all cash. So
you were telling me the other day, when people buy into some of these condos, about the sort of deposit they've got to have and what their financial status is like. Would you mind sharing with us a little bit about some of the things that you see there?
So that's in a co-op where it's restricted.
Yes.
It really depends on the building. There's like kind of levels. So if it's, say, a 50% down burn, so you can finance 50%.
50%.
Some you cannot finance at all.
Wow, 100%.
Yeah, and if there's really kind of the tier. So say if you're in a 50% down building, they generally want to see sometimes the purchase price in liquid assets post closing. If you go down to all cash only buildings, they may need to say 2 or 3 times the purchase price in cash.
And does that get submitted to a board for approval?
That's how they would approve you.
Okay. And so if we're buying, I remember a couple of years ago we came over here and you were very generous with your time and we went and had a look at a penthouse that you were selling. And we were amazed at the holding costs monthly and quarterly. So again, put it, I guess, in Aussie terms, when you talk about strata, can you give us some similarities on that basis?
So if you're looking at, say, a very large, say, 3, 4, 5,000 square foot apartment, that's, say, 3 or 4 bedrooms, you're probably looking at easy 20 to 40,000 a month.
A month?
A month.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What do I get for that, Kurt?
In a building like that, you'll be getting, obviously, a doorman, you'll be getting a gym, usually a pool, you'll be getting a full service amenitized building.
Yeah. So I noticed the other day online you had a pretty amazing looking apartment down around Chelsea Way. What were you sort of asking for that, if it's kosher, if we're allowed to talk about that? So
that's a little over $4 million.
Okay. And what are my fees for that monthly?
Between your real estate taxes and your strata common charges, you're looking around $5,000.
$5,000 a month.
Which for a building of that quality and in that location is
actually not too bad.
It's on the low side.
Yeah. And what sort of amenities do I get access to there if I bought in that building for that price?
So that building had 24-hour doorman, concierge, you had a pool, gym, steam room, sauna,
I think
lounges.
You said there was a creche in there as well, did you?
Oh, which one?
Was there a creche in there for kids as well within that?
Yes, children's playroom.
It's extraordinary, the
catering
facilities.
kitchen, dining room.
But no parking.
No parking.
Not a lot of parking here.
You have a porte cochere. You have a driver.
Okay. So what I'd like to do, Kurt, is just finish with a couple of things, if it's okay.
Yes.
And as I said, obviously, we've got a couple of brokers coming in earlier today. But there'll be a lot of young talent listening to this going, I want to be Kurt. I want to come and do what Kurt's done. I can just hear my daughter's brain ticking behind me because she wants to come to New York when she's finished school. How should they approach coming over here and looking for work, besides ringing you, of course, to see if you've got any jobs going in your team? What advice would you give to someone that wants to come over here and have a career in real estate in New York City?
I would say take the leap. because I would not have thought 10 years later I'd probably still be here.
Let alone on Fifth Avenue, is it, where your office is?
Right.
Yeah, unbelievable, right?
It's pretty crazy. I just take the lead because you never know where you're going to go and who you're going to meet, because New York City is very big on networking and connections. So you just never know who you're going to meet, where you're going to meet them, and they can lead you to like the best than ever.
Yeah. And has there been times, Kurt, where you've ever sort of doubted yourself or imposter syndrome and told yourself stories, and how have you got through that? I
have. Yeah, there was like a rough time a couple of years ago, and I was feeling like I was in a bit of a lull, and then I realised I just need to change things up, getting stagnant, and just like take a leap into
get out of the environment, get get a different tribe around you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's been the best than ever.
Yeah. Your energy's amazing, and
and then you just don't know what you can do, like how much you can actually improve and change. Yeah. It's actually quite surprising.
Well, we're incredibly proud of you. I just want to finish on 2 questions.
Sure.
Are you reading or listening to anything at the moment that you think our listeners would see value in?
This is actually a recommendation from a book from Holly, actually. Is the owner of Balthazar.
Yes.
So has this like insanely great book about service and how he got to be in the top of his game in hospitality. And I think that really applies to being real estate, because that's also service.
Now, you said the other day, I'm still using some of the processes and systems that I learnt from my early days,
yes.
Which we love structure and processes and systems, particularly when you're director of operations for a team like Holly.
Right.
What's your one non-negotiable as a leader in that swim lane?
I always have a checklist. I look at it multiple times a day, and it's my go-to bubble. Just
process
to make sure
has a
everything's
branding
there.
Problem, right? Like
it really does.
Process, it's so boring.
It does sound extremely boring, but like
it's the fundamental
it's so critical.
Backbone of any
how things don't
high-performance
slip through.
team.
Right. Yeah. Like if there's no processes and structure, you don't really have business.
Oh, well, we're wasting time, right? We're touching things
nothing.
twice.
Yeah.
It's not clear. People don't know where we're going. You can get there faster.
Right. Yeah.
Talking about
you're
getting
running
there
circles.
faster, what's the future hold for Kurt?
I see myself leading a team or a company at some point in the future.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Kurt, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. It was lovely to have a chat to you, and we're so incredibly proud of where you've gone.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Impact and Influence. Click follow to get notified about future episodes. Leaving a review helps others find the podcast. And to learn more about our courses, our study tours, conferences, keynote topics and our services, or how simply we might be able to help support you in taking you to places you never thought possible, please visit regrowthkyliewalsh.com. Impact and Influence is proudly brought to you by Flick It Over, an industry-leading forms provider and e-signature platform built for real estate. Flick It Over is an office-wide solution for sales, property management and operations that delivers noticeable efficiency and a seamless client signing experience via email and SMS. Unleash the power of SMS and get documents back 60% faster with Flick It Over.